Tonight, by the power of your hands, you gave us this land. By the power of your mercy, you have set us free. So do it again. You open the Red Sea, abide. Let your mighty right hand fight the enemy. Give Israel children victory.
Okay. Well, let's see if I can hear what's going on over here. A little bit of a delay is going to happen. Okay. Yep. Sounds like that's working. So that's good. Now let's go ahead and all right, we're gonna use this video, which I've already played twice through the Zoom, once through the Facebook Live here. Let me just go ahead and try to record in the cloud now. And it seems like there we go. Okay. All right. So it's taken us, since leaving for Hawaii, it's taken us a month to get ourselves back. Poop. All right. Sorry about that. I didn't have myself unmuted and I didn't have the camera on, obviously. So let's get that going. All right. So it's been a month, is what I was saying, and I was getting the other video feed established here so we can give this morning manna today. Now, specifically on Shabbat, and I say Shabbat Shalom, everybody. All right, specifically on Shabbat, our goal is to specifically reach the people that are living in YAHshrAL. And I want to clarify from now on the difference between those that are living in YAHshrAL and those that are YAHshrAL. Okay? And a lot of people, you know, they have almost like an insulting way of saying it, you know, like, oh, they're just occupiers, you know, especially very religious, know-it-all Christians. You know, they attack those people very harshly that are living in YAHshrAL. And it's like, wait a second. If you watched how they lived and where they lived here in the United States, they're like so Roman Catholic and they don't even know it. And I find it really, really insulting. And I don't see a whole lot of love in the openness of a lot of people that go under this umbrella. It's a big umbrella, unfortunately, called YAHshrAL. Or this big umbrella called Jewish or Judaism. Or this big umbrella called Christian or Christianity. And then there's this big umbrella called Islam or Islamic or Muslim. All right, I need to make it very clear here today that our message is not for those that are thinking they know it all and they're listening to me and hopefully they are judging, but they're judging righteously what I'm saying, right? Okay, so that's working good. Let's go ahead and check out the Zoom feed. All right, I'm just doing a sound check here, make sure we're not having people trying to listen and they can't hear. Okay. Just doing a sound check here. All right. So it looks like we got ourselves broadcasting, and you know, it's a lot better to check these things. And I don't have a sound crew. I'm not a big, you know, ministry bringing in millions and millions of dollars. And I don't think those were the kind of people that were really the chosen of Yah. I think they were regular people like you and I. And you're going to see the release of the chosen coming up. And they want to do this all before Easter. And many people are going to call it Easter. And they're going to insult all of us that have actual knowledge. And they're going to go with this Easter thing. And we're going to be sitting back going, wait a second. Why are we celebrating this thing called Easter? In fact, the religion that I came from is doing this big, Ash Wednesday and Monday, Thursday and Good Friday and Lent and all these Catholic things. And they think they're right in what they're doing. Now, many of those people I love very much. Some of them are, people that are very conservative in their views. And when we say conservative, we kind of want to say that their beliefs are probably going to have a tendency to be a Torah foundation belief, a belief in Torah. So, what I want to put out there is I have to look at the many, many nations, right, that there are, and there are many, that I am supposed to, as a sharaf, as a shaliach, as a, what you would know as evangelist or a missionary, right? One who is putting himself out there to the nations, a shaliach. And as I'm putting myself out there to the nations, I specifically dressed today the way that I dress, okay? Because I want you to realize that many people are still very hung up on the outward appearance, okay? And they are not going to move away from that. So I just want to have this, discussion with you today that, if a person is wearing the pointy top thing, called a pope or a cardinal or any of these kind of dudes, these things have many strong ties to Baal worship, okay? And we can go through hours and hours and hours of study. So I'm not trying to insult my, Catholic friends or my Lutheran friends or my protest friends, Protestant, but you guys have a whole lot of paganism that is mixed into what you're doing. Now, the Jewish, Orthodox and different people like this, they have a lot of paganism mixed in as well. Ever since about 2,700 years ago, the second Babylon, the first Babylon was with Nimrod and Abraham, which is, the Tower of Babel, Babylon, right? That was the first Babylon. And very powerful, powerful place. So I am reaching out knowing when I'm doing a broadcast like this that I am going to have people that are Catholic that are going to come on in here. I know that there are people that are Lutheran that are going to come on in here, and they think they're very different than Catholic, and they think Catholics are wrong and they're right. And then you're going to have your Protestants or protesters come in, and I just saw the United Church of Christ, and they got trans people that are women, but yet they have a beard, and those are the pastors, those are the people leading the type of church, United Church of Christ, that I grew up in, okay? They've had sex changes. They are definitely a very different type of group of people. So I'm here to tell you today that, those are the three big, within Christianity, those are the three really mega big groups. And you might say, well, no, Catholics aren't Christian. Some Catholics don't believe they're Christian. Some Catholics believe they are Christian. So there's a whole division on that. In fact, there's a lot of Catholics right now that are rising up against the modern day Pope, and that, you know, they're not in agreement with this modern day Pope. So there's a lot of things going on. And, you know, when you go to YAHshrAL and you beam in, you see, you know, those that, let me see if I got mine around here. Well, it's out in the other room, but, you know, I've wore it before, the black hats, right? The big hats, you know, they're going to have a big black hat on. They're going to be wearing a black suit with a white shirt. No tie. A tie, by the way, that church people, you know, think is important, and business people, and it's sad, is actually a Freemason tradition. You can do your own research, do your own studying if you don't like it, but they're going to look like that. They're going to have a tie on. So when you go to your church tomorrow, if the leader, the one that speaks, has a tie on, you know, he is celebrating a Freemasonry. So again, I'm not here to condemn any of the different cultures, the different people groups. I'm not here to condemn them. I'm here to hopefully break through into their hearts with some real truth here, so they can break out of their religious idealisms and ideologies, and they can start to see, what does the Kitwe, what does this have to say? That's all we're concerned about, okay? What does this have to say? If you don't, first off, use a good copy, an accurate copy of this text that many call the Bible. We don't call it the Bible because they didn't call it the Bible. That's a Babylonian term. Bible, Biblia, and it's pagan as well. So, you know, if you're comfortable with all of that paganism, but yet if I say, oh, you're a pagan, you'd be insulted. So I'm just going to tell you right now, if you celebrate Easter and not Pesach or Passover, then you are a pagan, because you're celebrating the goddess of Ishtar, which was the pedophile mother of the sun god Baal, who was originally Nimrod. And the Trinity comes from the two of them, a mother and a son, having sex and having a baby called Tammuz. That's the Trinity. So, you know, paganism is so embedded into the Constantine Council of Nicaea, bringing everybody together. They completely changed much of this, all right, to create a new world order. So this is the confusion that comes in for so many of you. You think the new world order is coming. The new world order has been around for already well over 1,700 years, okay? We are in the New World Order end of it now. It's coming to the end of it. It started 1,700 years ago. And it is a religious implementation of counterfeit things or fraudulent things, similar to what we're finding right now in the United States government. Waste, fraud, and abuse. What they have done is they've taken something that's supposed to be very pure, very clear, and very simple, and what they've done is they have changed it. They've fraudulently brought forth something that is not what this says. And, you know, once you get well learned in the scriptures, you're going to be able to sit down with anybody. I don't care if they call themselves a Jew. I don't care if they call themselves a Catholic. Okay? I don't care if they call themselves, you know, Islamic or Muslim. You know, and there's like a couple hundred denominations, if I understand it right, within the Muslim, the followers of YAHshrAL, right? The son of Abraham, YAHshrAL, his first son, they follow him. And there's a couple hundred denominations that came out of that. All right? The second born son, but it was the son of the love of his life, his wife. And if they would have had enough belief, they would have never even done the first child Ishmael. But they screwed up, you know, they didn't have enough belief. So they concocted this, you know, and it was Sarah's fault, right? Sarah, she convinced Abraham to do it. So even though he's the father of Amunah, or the Abba of Amunah, or the father of our, as you know it, belief or faith, which faith is also a pagan term, so I don't use that any longer. Although I have a daughter named Faith. So these are things that I've discovered over the years. Now you got to realize, to get to where I'm at in this type of a teaching, I have had to correct myself over and over and over. I've had to stand in correction of things that I believed that were just not accurate. So, you know, I'm sorry if some of this hurts your feelings, okay? It's not my intent to hurt your feelings. My intent is to bring the correction that's necessary. So the tendency of human personality is definitely to not want to be corrected. Most people don't want to stand corrected, okay? So when we start looking at, you know, well, what are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at it. I don't think that's the right one. It's this one. So yeah, if we were to just zoom out of that, and we're going to go to Facebook, okay? I put a correction lesson, and it's kind of deep because Robert Amen does these in ancient Abraham. So they're a little harder to grab a hold of, but nonetheless, they're very accurate and they're very awesome. And I hope you like them. So I post them. But this is, again, he is a very different, what many would call messianic, than a lot of us. All right? He is very different. So when we go down on my wall, and I minister on my Facebook wall, so it makes it very much a daily diary, if you will, or a platform that you can go ahead and see, you know, what we're sharing. So we're in agreement with conservative Christians on most issues, but when it comes to doctrine, there's a separation. We are not in agreement, but that's okay, because what you're going to find out is if you call yourself a Christian, you're not in agreement with all Christians, and you won't be. You're going to find yourself very much at odds with those that go under that umbrella. So this has been a lot of political things that you can look at, and you can learn from what's going on politically and connect it to this book, all right? And it'll make a lot of sense to you why there is this division out there, right? And why people are waking up to the fact that we're supposed to be one. We're not supposed to be divided. So this is a real eye-opener for a lot of people, because they're really caught up in it, you know? So yeah, I've been touting, you know, and it was crazy because I ran across some things, and right away there's another Christian ministry that's attacking So they're attacking, you know, out there in the internet, this man right here. I believe the pronunciation of his name is Dontrell, but he is devoted to Yah. That is his handle. That's what he calls his musical existence out there. And he's really great. You know, he's really incredibly gifted, talented musician, right? And I love the guy, and I'm not gonna, you know, condemn him because he's at where he's at any more than I'm going to condemn you as an ignorant Christian that may be attacking, or an ignorant Messianic for that matter, attacking the people of Yisrael, of Israel. You know, why people find the need to do this, I don't know. You know, I really don't understand the attacking. Now you might say, well, that's what you have done, Rock. In reality, you've done that. And maybe you're right. Maybe I've been a little hard on people, a little harsh. So, you know, if that's the way I've come across at times, I think I've been misunderstood again. And I already know that I will be misunderstood and that I will offend people. Yahusha made that very clear that that's going to happen. And I'm not here to try to offend you. You know, that's not my goal. I'm not here to try to hurt your feelings. That's not my goal. I'm not here to create an enemy. That's not my goal. I am here to minister the Abrai Aramaic, you know, as you would know it, Hebrew Aramaic. I would, you know, challenge you to get the perspective of the fact that just like we have an idealistic constitution, but yet a realistic set of governing laws that run this country right now. On Shabbat. So that's interesting. But hopefully it won't happen again. So, you know, we got this Constitution, and then we got, that's idealistic in the great things about it, much of which is very scriptural, very Torah driven. And then we got the realistic, which is a government that's run by a lot of evil people that are not only not following the Constitution, but they are manipulating it on a daily basis, and they've twisted it with the laws of the land. So we're in a very bad place as a country in the United States. And I'd like to believe that the people that are in there right now are cleaning that up. and then the righteous have arrived. The right people are in there, and they're fixing things for the United States. But you need to understand the same goes for Yisrael. Right now, there's a lot of people in Yisrael. Benjamin Netanyahu, I think, seems to be a pretty good guy. I've seen him in his worship. I've seen him in, you know, lifting up. Of course, he called him Adonai, and I don't like that. So I can go through a checklist as I listen to people, and I can find scripturally where they're wrong. Okay? And there's very few people I can listen to, including Don Triel, you know, where he sings some things that are beautiful, but like glory, for example, is a word. Glory is a pagan goddess that is known as Gloria, but yet we've been brainwashed into thinking that we should be singing or saying glory. And it's mostly sung, but it's, you know, glory, glory, glory all over the place. Well, that's a sin. That is a violation of Torah, because the name of another Elohim is not supposed to utter from our lips. They might say, oh, you just sinned. Well, I'm teaching you something right now, so it's not the same. But, you know, here is the rebuke them sharply that I was looking for. And Robert Amon is the one that puts these out. Now, in his raw form, you're going to find very hard, probably, to read it, but there's massive Abrai in here, right? And he's using an ancient script, an ancient text. Sure enough, they're going to all go off right now, back to back. These are not supposed to be on Shabbat, so I apologize that those alarms are all going off at this time. But I will, because if I go ahead and I do that with the phone and shut them all off right now, then what's going to happen is I'm going to lose the video feed for a moment, and I don't want to do that either. So yeah, you can see, rebuke them sharply, and it's really quite the study that he puts together here. I challenge you to go to my wall, and read it. Now, this is what my job is. I'm supposed to rebuke people because I am a shaliach. I'm an overseer. And overseeing scattered people, YAHshrAL, the scattered tribes, the lost tribes of YAHshrAL are around the world. So, when I'm talking to you people in Ethiopia today, you may be, of one of the tribes. The people of Ethiopia might be one of the main power tribes of the end as everyone's coming together. My job is not to make you feel bad if in Ethiopia you're, not doing things according to Scripture, because that's all this is about for me. You can see I gave Robert Amon, the credit here, because he works hard to do this. I know how hard this translating into the ancient Hebrew is. It's not an easy task. So we have, deception, which I'm just going to classify under one category, which is the religion. Very simple. In all these religions, this deception exists. The waste, the fraud, and the abuse that the United States of America is experiencing, other countries are coming forth now and saying their governments have been corrupt as well. Now, this is nothing new, because Abraham really didn't like, as it would be Iran, he really didn't like the rulers of Iran and how heavily they were being taxed. Okay? So Abraham was in the face of the king of Iran. And you know what? Even though they were being overtaxed, he hyped up and raised the taxes anyway. Okay? So he didn't care. So I need you to understand that, again, I'm not here to tickle your ears, okay? So let's cover that real quick. Let's go there. Ear, tickle, spiritual meaning, scriptural meaning. Ear tickle. All right, so here we got 2 Timothy 4:3. So let's just go there and take a look. Now, come on. Okay. So again, as I'm looking this up, you can see that what we have regularly up is the Devarim, or the Deuteronomy 6. It's a commanded prayer. It's called Shema. Now, if you didn't do the Shema earlier, if you're in Yerushalayim, it's already, afternoon. I'm sure you did your Shema early in the morning. If I started it out in this, service, you'd probably be, possibly caught by surprise, because you're like, well, wait a second, it's afternoon. Well, not here. I started at 2:00 this morning putting worship on. And, I was using the beautiful music of well, first off, I had some things that came from the way, and they opened up in some worship. But then I used this incredible person, Eliana, right, from YAHshrAL. So we're going to get back to her in a minute. And then, you know, we're going to just look at this Timothy. So I don't know if I said 1 Timothy. I think I did. Second Timothy 4:3. All right, so if you look at 2 Timothy 4, verse 3, it says, "For there will be a time that will come, and they will not bear sound teaching, but according to their own desires, they will heap up for themselves teachers tickling the ear." So, and it says, "And they will indeed turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to myths." I'm sorry to break the news to you, but if you're looking for some teacher out there that is going to be tickling your ears or trying to make you feel good, and you think this is about your feelings, I'm sorry to break the news to you today. It's not. This is not going to be about what makes you feel good. In fact, it's probably going to hurt. It's probably, if it was like for me, when I started to discover how many false teachers that there actually were out there, wow, you know, I freaked, you know. I came to realize that there are so many false teachers in this world that, man, you know, and they're the leaders of these denominations, you know, within Christianity, within Judaism, and within Islam and Muslim. So, you know, every one of them has divisions, massive. So the main thing to understand that I'm about is the Shema, okay? I'm here to say that if we are the family of YAHshrAL, then we are going to be, as it says here in Devarim or Deuteronomy 6:4, it says, "Hear, O YAHshrAL," or Shema, O YAHshrAL, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Okay? One is HalleluYAH. Okay? If you look at it in the Orthodox Jewish Bible, it says Shema Yisrael. They say Adonai or Hashem because they don't want to say the name. Okay? In this book, it's going to be the way that it is on the cover. It's going to be Yahweh, right? So we have this division going on right now of what text should I follow. And, you know, through all of my fasting and, you know, communication, asking, searching, knocking, you know, digging in, meditating on His Word day and night, I've come to the conclusion that we got to go back to the original as much as we can. This here, as you see in the Scriptures 2009, that's not original. That is modern Hebrew, modern Abrahi. So, you know, they started changing and putting this modern Hebrew together about 2,700 years ago. What's interesting, if you notice, when Yahusha came, everything was in Aramaic. So they went back to a more ancient text, a more ancient language in what they were doing. So I would say Aramaic and, you know, the Paleo is probably the closest cousins that you can find, because why else would the Mashiach Yahusha be working with the same language that Abraham, you know, spoke? Because Abraham spoke Aramaic, okay? Yahusha spoke Aramaic. So as much as everybody wants to push And that's a big fight too. People will say, oh no, he spoke Hebrew, and then they want to argue about that. What I'm here to do is not argue. I'm here to study and confront the fact that, first and foremost, people don't want to be corrected. Okay? They're just not into that. So they want to be right in their own eyes, right? So when I start, putting out correction, they're out. They already left the Facebook. They're not even on here anymore. Because they don't want to hear that they're wrong. They don't want to hear that maybe they haven't studied enough. They don't want to hear that they've been deceived by a pastor along the way. They don't want to hear that the English language is pagan, so therefore every text that's pretty much come for the first few hundred years, especially starting with King James in 1611, was massively corrupted. And still to this day, King James has well over 1,000 errors in doctrine and another almost 7,000 errors just in the name Yahweh that they changed about 3,000 times to God and about 4,000 times to the Lord. What's really disgusting to me is I see those in Judaism that are actually using the Christian tradition of King James, and they're saying the Lord. And, the crazy part to me is some of them are extremely intelligent people, but yet they're behaving in such a manner that they'll bring forth a false teacher, a false teaching. They'll bring forth all this stuff and not walk in the truth themselves when it's so obvious if you study. And many of them, you find as their heroes. Jonathan Cahn, great messianic guy. I mean, he's a seer. I don't disagree with his visions, but I don't like the fact that he intermixes the Lord or God. Michael Rood does the same thing. There's a lot of different people that are in different categories. Now you might say, oh, you're bashing them. No, I'm not bashing any of them. What I'm saying is we're divided. And what is this saying? This is telling us that we're supposed to be what? What does it say? It's telling us right here, we're supposed to be one. Or, as it says in the Orthodox Jewish Bible, echad. We're supposed to be one. We're supposed to be echad. And we're not. You cannot tell me that Christianity is echad. They're one of the most divided umbrellas of terminology. And I've even asked them right out on my Facebook wall, I've done the survey, what is a Christian? 99.9% of the people that are in my 5,000 friend list and other people that come that are followers, there's another 1,000 followers, whatever, they can't answer the question. They can't. And when I start talking to them, is a Christian a Catholic? Is a Christian a Lutheran? Is a Christian a Protestant? Is a Christian a Baptist? Is a Christian, just within Baptist, let's just take Baptist alone. Within the Baptist belief, there was, back in the 90s when I started studying this, there was 26 different types of Baptists. Some of them believed in speaking in tongues. Some of them didn't believe in speaking in tongues. And, the ones that didn't believe in speaking in tongues would go out on Christian radio and they would condemn the people that do speak in tongues. If what they're coming across with is a spirit of condemnation, then they are not followers of the way. They're not followers of YAHshrAL HaMashiach. They're just not. Because he didn't come to condemn the world. He came to save it. I'm not coming here with a spirit of condemnation. I'm coming here with this thing that I'm pointing out, which is a spirit of correction and trying to bring forth a corrected version of people's understanding here to what we are supposed to be actually believing. So when someone comes, it says sharply, if I come hardcore, and I'm bringing this to you hardcore. It's It's not going to be light. I am correcting you according to, this is Titus 1:13, by the way. I'm not coming here to tickle your ears. I'm coming here to tell you something that I already know in advance. When this was revealed to me, wow, I was tripping, right? I was tripping. I just didn't even understand where are they coming from here. And I had to unlearn a lot of things. You know, the Psalm 119 ministries, one of their themes is unlearn. They've done a lot of good work. Although when I listen to them, can I agree 100% with the Psalm 119 people? And the answer is no. I can't agree 100% with the Psalm 119 ministries, because even in the middle of a really good teaching, they'll throw in all these pagan, Christian, type beliefs. This is the issue with those that call themselves Messianic, which is why I will not take your title, okay? Don't call me a Messianic. I don't want to be that, because then what I've opened myself up to is what we found, and we've gone across, the United States to a lot of Messianic congregations and tried to have fellowship and worship with them. Some of them are very strong tradition of men, very strong rudiments of the world. They're very strong into mixing in Judaism into their Christianity, and then somewhere meeting in between, and then they just call them Yahusha. So in other words, their doctrine is based on two religions, and they just mix that all up, which, by the way, the mixing is what is known by many who study. It's known as Nimrodic. Oh, you have a Nimrodic spirit. Because Nimrod created 100 false gods. 100 false gods. Can you imagine 100 false gods, boom, through one human being? And many people still worship those gods and goddesses to this day. His mother, the pedophile, Easter, or Ishtar, she is worshipped every year by those people that call themselves Christians. Now, there are Christians that have gotten conviction, right? And they say, oh no, I don't call it Easter anymore. I call it Resurrection Sunday. Okay, well, why are you worshiping the sun god Baal and trying to say that he rose on a Sunday when that makes no sense if he was crucified on Good Friday? Add it up. That's 2 days. If he rose on the third day, add it up from Friday to Saturday, right? And these are pagan days. I would rather say, and you won't understand it probably if I do, the 6th day to the 7th day, the 7th day to the 1st day, and then the 1st day to the 2nd day. So we say Friday to Saturday, 1 day, Saturday to Sunday, 2 days, Sunday to Monday, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. Hello. How could he have been raised on the 3rd day on a Sunday? Oh, because it's Easter Sunday. Why? Because the Pope said so. You're a Catholic. You think you're a Christian. You're a Catholic. And you think there's a real difference. And the fact of the matter is there's so much mixing within everything from the New World Order in about 300 AD that people are just confused. They really need to unlearn. And I don't mean go to Psalm 119 Ministries and try to help. I mean, you can look at what their material says, but just don't buy into all of each ministry. Michael Rood has a lot of good things. Jonathan Cahn has a lot of good things. There are many out there. Do I like the Jewish Jesus Schneider? He says some good things every once in a while, and then he screws it up with all these false teachings, So we got to be really careful, and I'm sharply correcting those guys, not to condemn them, but hopefully they'll get to their knees and they'll start teaching what it really says in here, in the original language, right? And stop playing games, okay? Stop playing games. You know, just like, I'll just give you this, you know, Yahovah, Yahovah, that's the big Michael Rood thing. The V never even existed until way later, okay? So the pronunciation of Jehovah is horrible to say that that is even at all remotely close to Yahweh. So this is a big problem I have with Michael Rood. Number one is that Yahovah stuff, and he really pounds on it like he knows what he's talking about, because he, you know, throws on a robe. So that takes me back to this clothing thing. You know, everybody's dressing different, okay? The tribes are scattered all over the world, right? I don't dress with the black hat and the black, you know, I don't wear my talit up here all the time. I'm actually going to be creating my own clothing line because I want to get rid of the evil materials that were warned in the Torah not to have those materials on our bodies. And that there are certain materials that work good. And now they're doing testing with energy and, you know, light and electricity and everything of what we wear in our clothing, finding out that because we have violated the Torah and we haven't wore the type of clothes that he tells us to wear, that's why people are sick. Because you're wearing polyester. Polyester is an oil. It's made from oil, right? An oil-based clothing product. We have drifted so far away, and then people sit back and they wonder why they're sick. Well, you have no reverence for this book. You do not respect him if you don't respect this, because this is him. He says that his only begotten son, Yahusha, is the living Torah, the living kitway, the living scriptures, right? The living text, not the Bible, but all the other things. Kitway was the first thing it was called. And of course they use a V, right? So I own that because, you know, kitway.com, because that's what people are going to search. That's what they're going to look for once they start realizing, oh, it's not called the Bible. No, it's not. What does Kitway mean? Kitway means writings. These are writings, right? You know, and what I like about this one is it's got the Abrahi, you know, on one side, and then it's got the English on the other. So, you know, it helps you when you do parallel versions like this. It helps you to come to a deeper level of understanding when you're studying. So again, if you want to know what we believe in this. We believe in better copies. And I'm not going to say that this one is perfect any more than the Sefer behind me is perfect. And there's been a lot of people that have shown a lot of condemnation, hatred towards the Sefer people. So we got people within the Messianic world now that, you know, they are condemning the Sefer people. The Sefer people are condemning the HalleluYAH Scriptures people. And the I went to YAH Scriptures. YAH Scriptures people condemn the HalleluYAH Scriptures people. I'm working with a dear, beloved elder friend that lives in Israel who wrote the Hebraic roots. He and I are going to do a revised version, number 5, that's going to put a lot of really, really cool correction in there. He's already corrected the English versions massively because he used an Aramaic Peshitta to look at the what you would know as the New Covenant, but it's really not supposed to be called covenant. It's a contract. It's an agreement, right? And I would say that it's been revised numerous times, and we're in the 7th revision, okay? the final revision. So we got the first Adam on the first the original contract, and then we got the second Adam, Yahusha, who is correcting the other versions, but not scrapping the whole contract. In fact, the parallels between Abraham, or the Abrahamic, which is the third revision, to Yahusha, the parallels there and the things between Melchizedek and that, Yahusha is Melchizedek, the king of righteousness, right? It's all relative in how you're going to look at it. So I just wanted to say that we're going to be doing this outreach on Shabbat. This one is specifically for YAHshrAL. But I know some of you are Shabbat keepers and you are meeting at this time. So when I'm coming on, we welcome you to, have a computer, have an HDMI cord, have a big screen TV, and be able to connect me in, and you can talk, personally to your congregation without coming online and doing a whole lot with my broadcast. But then you can go ahead and welcome me in. And you're going to have to prearrange that. I'm not going to do that on the fly because it's hard enough for me to manage all of this by myself, all right? I don't have Michael Rood's, millions of dollars that are coming in, I don't have the Jewish Jesus Schneider, the millions of dollars coming in. I haven't written all my books yet, so I don't have the millions of dollars that Jonathan Cahn has, because he is a seer and he wrote some incredible things that were to come, and now we're seeing them come. Let me just say it to you this way. Not everybody's all wrong, and not everybody's all right. And I don't think that I'm even all right at this point. I'm still learning and I'm still growing. So what I'm presenting myself as, sometimes I'm going to be correcting, but sometimes I'm going to be standing corrected, or I'm going to be asking you if you catch something that I said that doesn't agree with what you're thinking, then you can go ahead and write me, RevRock at Yahweh.love. Okay? RevRock at YHWH.LOVE. Write me. Okay? Don't try to send me something in Messenger. I made that very clear yesterday. I don't want to sit and chat with you in Messenger. It's an unorganized, fly by the seat of your pants, horrible means of communication. I need to organize my communication. Now, if you go to Rock Rice, ROCKREISS, that's ROCKREISS. If you go to rockrice.com, there's a form on there. As soon as it pops up on Popple, and you can fill that form out, and that'll automatically put you in my address book. That's organization. That's being organized. I need to manage if we're going to reach the nations. So let's go ahead and repeat this Eliana message for you today here, because I think it's relative. And that's why I played it twice already. Now, she's going to have some scriptures at the end, and she doesn't use the best versions. I want to talk to her about versions, but she is putting out, as an Israeli citizen, she is an Israeli citizen, but she's reaching out to the nations as someone who knows the way. She knows the Messiah. And scripturally, she is really, really on way more than a lot of teachers that I see that are male. So let me make that clear, up front, that, if you have a hard time listening to a woman because you get hung up in your misunderstanding of what Shaul was saying, then, we're going to actually really lift you up, that he'll open up your understanding. Because Yah has been using women from the beginning of time. That does not take away the fact that the man is the leader, or the husband is the one directly accountable in a family to Yah. It doesn't take that away. It just confirms it all the more. So I'm going to play this, and then when we get to the scriptures, I'm going to stop. But I already played it twice on the Zoom for those of you that are watching that way. And then for those of you that are just on a Facebook Live, you've only seen it once. So this will be the second time for you, third time for the Zoomers. Okay, now notice there are people with all kinds of different ways that they're expressing themselves. Some of them have the kippah on. You know, I don't agree with the kippah as being a scriptural doctrine. In fact, it's really confusing for a lot of people. And then you can see the black hats are up closer to the wall. You see people waving the palm branches for the Hoshiana or Hosanna, you know, in the highest. So ask yourself, you know, when's the last time you ever took a palm branch and started waving it? You do realize that the book says you're supposed to do that, right? It's called a wave offering. You wave that palm branch. That's something you're supposed to do every year, okay? But people don't do it. So, you know, you could say, oh, come on, give me a break. No, I'm telling you, you're doing a lot of things that the Christians told you to do, thinking nothing of it. Why, when it says in the book, and you can see it in the book, that you're supposed to do something, would you fight that? Ask yourself, you know, you're going to have to get on your knees and figure it out, man.
Justice, mercy, and love, such
So, you know, when we look at Eliana here, you know, that is a song, 8 minutes and 47 seconds, right? Now, again, she doesn't use a good copy of text here. I don't like that, you know, she's got Lord and God in here, but she, you know, does put the Abrai, so she's got, you know, this Hebrew, and then she says what she's saying. And then, you know, even when she's singing, you know, we look at, okay, what's the quality of the text? What is she saying, you know? And if I look at that in and of itself, you know, okay, it just happens to be that line has to go right through where she put it. But it says, send us Yeshua, the Messiah, son of your right hand. You know, I want you to know, even if it's not translated the best and they're doing some things, her words that she has put together in her poetry are so scriptural. And, you know, for those of you that sit back smug and say those people over in Israel are not the real Israelites, she lives there. I would put her up against your pastor, against you, or anybody to go ahead and have a scripture study. I'll moderate it. I'll be there with it. And what you're going to find is the amount of false teachings that you have as this smug United States Christian know-it-all person versus, you know, the person in YAHshrAL who is, she calls herself messianic, right? So she's a follower of the way. She follows Yahusha. And you got to realize she had to go outside of rabbis that were teaching her Judaism and come to an understanding of the Messiah. This is what's actually happening here in the United States, except for people are realizing the real Messiah is not Jesus. The real Messiah is Yahusha. And there's this great awakening that's going on, and there's an apostasy happening at the same time with churches. They're falling apart. It says that's going to happen in the book, right? It tells us this. So all in all, you know, when we look at it, we've got a really, really big time differentiation. But please don't give me your arrogant United States religious bologna sandwich that you think you're better than them who are over there. Okay? I think you're probably pretty confused on a lot of things, and they might be confused on some things too. Going and condemning people all over the place, which there's a very strong tone of condemnation in people. This is what I'm trying to come in with the lessons of love all week long so that we can get stronger in understanding how to love your neighbor. Okay? Because it was an Ashkenazi Jew family. Let's just call it for what it is. It was an Ashkenazi Jew family with the last name R-E-I-S-S. That's my name. Oh, wow. My name. Wow. So yeah, there was this Ashkenazi Jew family from Belgium. And then they ended up moving eventually, some of them, not all of them, to Germany, right? And then, as it were, obviously Hitler came and there was a war and it was really oppressive to Jewish people. So some people have said, well, one of the ways to get around this is I'll call myself Christian, right? So that Hitler won't kill us. But let's, in the meantime, try to get the heck out of here and flee to the United States, right? For political asylum, for religious reasons or whatever. So my family ended up coming here. My great-grandfathers, you know, from both sides ended up coming here. And their form of, you know, German Christianity is very, very false teaching, very inaccurate. So by all means, I'm not going to just stand on, oh yeah, because my great-grandfather was this, or even an Ashkenazi Jew, that means that I'm going to be that, okay? I have to go beyond them to my great-great-grandfather, my great-great-great-grandfather, my great-great-great-great-grandfather. I got to go all the way back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or YAHshrAL, right? Because Jacob's name got changed to Israel, right? YAHshrAL. So I have to realize I am the children of YAHshrAL when I come in agreement with this family invitation to be grafted in to the vine, the true vine, Yahushua HaMashiach. So, Yahushua didn't come to condemn the world, he came to save it. I really want people to wake up to the fact that there are people all around you here in the United States that are lost. Pretty obvious when you watch the news and you see how the Democrat Party, and I believe they are possessed big time. Am I condemning them when I call them Democrats? No. I'm calling them out. I'm doing what I said earlier, which is, again, right here, I am sharply rebuking them, right? Because they need to be rebuked, because they are definitely lost right now. And, our ministry makes it very clear that Yahweh is love, Yahweh is Ahava, and we're going to bring that forth in the most powerful way. The most important thing, 1 Corinthians 13, the most important thing is going to stay the most important thing every day in what we're teaching. So, at this point, we've gotten kind of long, right? But I do need to make it clear that we will revisit this, because I started the music at around 2, and now I've been talking for quite a while. So I want to just say that Yah is a term of endearment. It is YAHj YAH, or YAHj YAH, right? It's breathing in, breathing out is his name. And I connected with that because David is one of the few people in the scriptures that actually just called him Yah and not Yahweh, right? So I take it as, David is a man after Yah's own heart. And if I think about 37 times, he called him just Yah without the Yahweh. So, wow, cool stuff. So you're going to hear us talk a lot about just Yah. And it's a real easy replacement. Wherever you want to say God, just start saying Yah. But, this all really comes back to Eliana and her song. Now, I was going to go ahead and break down all these scriptures, and I think maybe what I'll do is I'll come back with this message next Shabbat, and I'll finish this, because she has a lot of great things in her videos that are scripture, and I think you might really appreciate it. So what she's singing right there is, it's in your heart to save. It's in your heart to save. And she sings it, in Abrai, in Hebrew, right? But, wow, that is totally in alignment with what I just said. He didn't come to condemn, he came to save. I'm here to be an agent for him, just like she's an agent for him over in Israel. So don't just go ahead and blanket and say, oh, those people aren't the real 12 tribes. How do you know that some of the 12 tribes are represented there right now? How do you know? Have you gone over there? Have you asked them? I had a good friend of mine, that left religion a long time ago. Michael, right? And he told me right out, he said, or told this guy right out on the wall, he said, did you ask them? You're just going ahead, and it's not even judgment. You can hear it's a tone of condemnation. There's a big difference between righteous judgment and evil condemnation. And in fact, Matthew 7, is mistranslated. If you go to the Aramaic and you read it for what it really says, it says, not judge not that he not be judged. It says, condemn not that he not be condemned. So in all of this, we have to have some discernment. We have to ask him, please give me discernment as I'm studying so that I don't, twist things or change things or try to go what's comfortable where my ears are being tickled. Help me to be able to really hear the truth. Okay, so now she says, Baruch Hashem Bincha, okay? And she translates it, Baruch, as being blessed. That is what you would know it as. But the better word, really, for that translation for Baruch is actually protected. Protected is the name of your son. Okay? Because Hashem means the name. And Bincha means the son. So, protected is the name of your son. Would have you ever thought that blessed meant protected? No, because Christianity has twisted blessed and favored kind of together, and they've twisted, favored, or actually they say grace and mercy. Blessed is a God. Mercy is a God, right? And grace is possibly connected and has ties as well. And that's the name of my youngest daughter, okay? So, I'm not condemning her name now, but I might have in my ignorance named her after a goddess. I might have in my ignorance named my daughter Faith after a god. I have learned so much, and this is why, this book, Exposed, God the Real and His Gods and Goddesses, is coming out. And you're maybe not going to like me after you read the book, because I'm going to expose probably a lot of your favorite gods and goddesses that you love so much. You sure worship them. It comes out of your mouth with a lot of passion when you sing. Tell me that that's not worshiping gods and goddesses. I believe that it is with all my heart. And I got convicted and pricked in the heart many years ago that I could not say Lord anymore. I could not say God anymore and in a form of worship. I could not say Jesus because I know what it really means. And that's a big study in and of itself. Okay, so then she says, Shlakanu et Yeshua HaMashiach ben Yaminka. And that is translated, and she does a pretty good job on this one. It says, except for she always puts Yeshua as Y-E-S. I believe it's Y-A-H. And, it's amazing how they've tried to take the Yah out of everything. The more you study it, you're going to be like, wow, why are they trying to take Yah out of everything? This is ridiculous. But that's the reason Babel came into existence, was because it was a punishment to the people that were following gods and goddesses and not being obedient to Yah. So it says, send us Yeshua the Messiah, son of your right hand. Wow. Then she says, Avinu Malakinu en lanu melech ala ata. And I apologize, Eliana, if you watch this and you see that I don't speak Abrai as fluently as you do. But I speak English more fluently probably than you do, and I know the mistranslations of where pagan terminologies have been shoved into these messianic groups. And she's messianic, so I don't know, if she is under a messianic rabbi or if she sees Yahusha as her rabbi, Rabboni, because you're not supposed to have, after Yahusha came, there isn't supposed to be rabbis. Because rabbi insinuates great teacher, and there's only one, and it's Yahusha. Hallelujah. So it says, our Father, our King, we have no king but you. Wow, hallelujah. Okay, so now she doesn't, again, have any conviction on the term mercy, but Raham is typically known as mercy, and it is another form of actually what we would call love, right? So she says, Raham Eloheinu, Chanu Va, and again, they use the V's in Israel, right? But it's really Eloheinu, or Ha, it would just be a breath, Ha, in ancient Abrai or Aramaic, Ha Eloheinu, He'en Banu Masharim. So it's have mercy, which would be have compassion, is a much better English word, and it's not a god or a goddess. Have compassion on us is what that means, and that's a form of ahava or love. And answer us, for we have no merits. Act with compassion and favor, which is a better word for than grace, because grace is questionable, towards us. And it says, do it for the sake of your great name. Please, and I don't like the fact that she uses Adonai. I know, and this is going to be in my book, this is one of the deceptions of the Judaism since Babylon, where the name Yahweh has been taken out, and they did replace it with Adonai. It really, a better term in English that should be there is whenever they're talking about Yahweh being our foundation, or another way that they say it about Yahusha is our chief cornerstone. These are definitely better words that should be used rather than Adonai. So you're going to hear a lot of Adonai as we dissect what's going on in Judaism and where they have gone astray, and they've really messed some things up. So she says, please, chief cornerstone, save us for the sake of your name. Again, she's singing to Yahusha here. Please save us for the sake of your name. Hallelujah. And then she has, all these scriptures that come. So this is where we're going to pick it up, where we left off next week on YAHshrAL 20, verse 44. So if you want to go ahead and look up that in advance, that's where we'll start next week for Shabbat. So in the meantime, grateful that you were here and that you, were willing to invest some time with us. I appreciate that ability, to be here with you guys. Let's see. There we go. Again, you can go to facebook.com/hey whatever, and you can follow me on there. I'm going to be full with 5,000 friends, as it says right here. I'm going to be full on a regular basis. So you might as well just hit the follow button. There really are no benefits of a friend over a follower. So, but I want to be a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and we're going to be getting into a lot of that here in the near future as well. So, definitely has been a pleasure to get with you guys this morning, to be able to share with you this morning, and really bring forth this message, this master's message of Yah. Okay, so I'm going to just close this out with some worship songs, and say Shabbat Shalom. And you have yourself an incredible day. It's only about 4 in the morning now, so I know that it's been really, really important to take care of my health, and I've been starting to get close to being myself again. So thank you all for your long suffering with me and for lifting me up, for the healing. I do receive it. If you've sent any types of cloths that are anointed with oil to me, I'll receive them. Not a problem. Let's go ahead and let's run to Yahuwah. Hallelujah.
Run to Yahuwah. Run to Yahushua. Keep running straight and don't turn away. Keep up your strength and don't fade away. You must cling to Yahuwah. Cling to Yahushua. Keep looking up when you fall down. Keep getting up, 'cause you're not alone. You must call on Yahuwah. Call on Yahusha. Stay deep in love. Seek what's above. Finish the race and go kiss his face. How can I fear? How can I hide when Yahuwah's on my side? How can I flee when near me is Yahuwah my Elohim? How can they stop me loving your name? Since I've heard it all has changed. How can they hold my lips to speak when Yahuwah's walks in me? I'll swim through the fire, I'll swim through the flames, and I'll keep fighting and praising your name. I'll march right into the jaws of death. I'll guard your name with my every breath. over with love. You are the apple of my eye. Oh, how I love your marvelous light. How can I fear when you are here? I will only fear